Hey Dad, so today I wanted to make a quick video. We had an issue with our air conditioning unit a couple weeks ago, and it turned out to be a bad capacitor. Had a couple AC guys come out in the past who are just old school, kind of tell you what they're doing and just walk you through you know, what might go wrong on these AC units. And so we've got two exterior AC units that we use for the house. It's 2 stories tall, and so this one on the left here is the one that went out. It was blowing hot air upstairs, and went out and listened to this unit as it's running and did not hear the compressor. And so my first thought was to check that capacitor, and turned out it was the capacitor. So ended up swapping that out about a week ago. It was about $35 from a local Ace hardware store. You can buy them on Amazon for as low as $13, but we needed it in a hurry, and that Ace hardware sold to the public. A lot of these stores, a lot of the retailers or distributors that sell these capacitors are mostly for contractors with business licenses and so on. So they actually sold them to the public, which was great. And we were up and running in about 2 hours. So got to thinking, might as well just replace this this other unit's capacitor, and then also the air handlers upstairs in the attic. Those are a little bit different, but what I understand about these is if you do use a capacitor when it's going bad, if it doesn't fully fail, and it's outside of that typical range of microfarads that it's rated for, puts more strain on your fan motor or more strain on your compressor, and can actually do damage to those components. And so, you know, for $50, I can basically update the rest of the capacitors in the house and give the motors and the compressors the right, you know, energy that they need to run efficiently. So I'm going to do that now. You know, it should be about 5 minutes or so. So if you have the ability and the know-how and the tools, it might be worth proactively replacing your capacitors in these AC units, just to make sure they're getting the right energy that they need to run properly. So here we go. So the first things first, we're going to go ahead and go to our thermostat, which you can go either on your physical in-person thermostat, or we have the Nest system. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Nest and gonna hit mode to off. And then on the outside, we're going to go ahead and open up our disconnect box. And underneath, you're going to find your quick disconnect. You can put your fingers on it and push. Push on the bottom, pull on the top here, and just pull that out. And we're going to go ahead and set that on top. Now we have physically disconnected this unit over here, which is our downstairs outdoor unit. And you can see a couple tools I have my voltage meter, make sure that everything's disconnected and we don't have any power running through anything. I've got my needle nose pliers. I've got a multimeter we'll look at to check the capacitor later. And then I always carry a magnet tray, which is really helpful. It magnetizes anything with kind of these rubber feet, and then captures all my screws, especially if I'm working on the rocks right here. And then I also have just a little magnetized nut driving bit that actually slides out and articulates a little bit on a little bit of a ball joint, which is convenient if you're going to be working in tighter spaces. So I'll take out the rest of these screws and we'll take off the cover. And wear some gloves, because this sheet metal might have some sharper edges underneath there. I really like these Maxi Flexes. Super comfortable and still give you a lot of tactile feel. So I just reordered some of these. The link is in the description below. So I'm gonna slide off this cover. I'm just gonna set this up here, and then you'll see we've got our 45 microfarad capacitor, and then all of our connections up here. So I'm just gonna take a look, make sure we don't have any voltage going to anything here. So our disconnect is fully disconnected. And then typically what I'll do now is you know, take a few photos with my phone of the connection points here, and just make sure that I've got a good idea of where everything's connected. This one's held on, looks like, by a little screw. So I'm just gonna zip that out. And then the capacitor that I purchased for replacement is a little bit longer, a little bit taller, and maybe not as wide. So this is the brand I bought on Amazon, and it's labeled with fan, Herm for compressor, and then common right here. So I can go ahead and pull this guy back and take a look. So it's clear that this common here is these two. Alright, nice tight fit. No, not super tight, so I'm gonna actually take my pliers and just squeeze these contact points a little bit. See if I can get a little tighter fit on that common there. Yeah, much better. And I'll do the same for this one over here. Alright, nice tight fit on both of those. And the only thing I'm not sure of here is which one's Herm and which one's fan, based off this older one. Here we're able to see on the diagram that Herm is yellow and our fan contact is labeled as brown, or the BR right here. Do the same. And because this was a little bit larger, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this one to the next bolt hole. Pretty good to go. Let's go ahead and test her out. Put our connector back in, and then we'll go back on the nest app. And sounds pretty good. Go inside, check it out, make sure the air's cooling down pretty well, but overall, I'd say less than 10 minutes to swap out a capacitor. Just want to make sure you've got the color coding right, but we had a diagram on our inside cover of our panel on the outside. I'm gonna go ahead and test out the old one and see if it needed to be replaced, if it was delivering the correct microfarads to the compressor and the fan, and we'll see if it was necessary. But I feel good just putting a new one on, since I don't know how old it was, and rather be safe than sorry. Look, we've got our 45 microfarad plus 5 for the fan. So this is the compressor number, and this is the fan number, and it's plus or minus 6%. So we should be between 42 and 47 if we do kind of a give or take. And so I've got my multimeter set on capacitance, and hold on, buddy. And we're going to test out both of these numbers and see what it looks like. So looks like this should be the fan, around 5.14 microfarads, which looks good. And then let's go ahead and move over to the compressor side and then the Herm, and let's see what that rating is. Looks like it's 46.89, which is perfectly within range. So this did not need to be replaced, but it was from 2015, and so we're going on 8 years now on this capacitor, and it's over 110 degrees now in Phoenix, so I feel a lot better having this one replaced.